Mr. Lee.
Sure. A couple questions about Western Sahara. One is, I wanted to ask you to confirm or deny that the UN system, in preparing its report on Western Sahara that's due this month, has provided relatively officially an advance copy to Morocco for its comments.
We consult with parties on reports. I think at the end of the day, it is the Secretary General's report. It will have his signature on it.
But they're being basically given a written copy and asked to propose amendments.
I think the report is the Secretary General's report. Any decision as to what is in or out of the report will be the Secretary General's.
If one side, like Polisario, says they don't accept that process and doesn't accept an advanced version,
as I said,
isn't it going to be
the Secretary,
tilted?
it's the Secretary General's report. It will be his opinion and his only that is reflected in the report.
Okay, and I wanted to ask you, I'd asked you before about this issue of mission support allowance in MINURSO, and since then I've obtained some documents that I want to ask you about, including a report by Kim Bulduck to Atul Khare and Hervé Ladsus, stating that UN staff of the mission were being charged or helping hotels charge for meals that they never ate. Those not based in Laayoune would go to use the services of Laayoune. And the reason I'm asking you this is that the end of the memo says that, in fact, Morocco's payment for these meals is considered part of its assessed contributions to the organization, i.e. it's taken out of what they would otherwise pay. So this seems to be a pretty serious, it seems that the UN believes that the restaurants, they say in the document, that they asked UN staff to leave their IDs behind even when they went on leave, so that the meals were still being charged from and taken from Morocco's contribution to the UN.
What's
been done
I'm
about
happy,
this?
as a matter of policy, I know that staff who are given, who are provided with accommodations get that value taken out of their MSA. On the specific cases you mentioned, if you share the document with me, I'm happy to take a look at it and try to answer the questions raised.
And finally, I know I have to ask you this. There was a briefing about Western Sahara held this morning in the Delegates Lounge, but as you may know, with this reduced pass, I cannot enter there. So I wanted to know what these claims that in fact one can cover the UN in exactly the same way with this pass. Can you respond to the idea that I can't on an issue that I
don't
actually
know.
cover?
I don't know about the briefing. As I said, if there is an issue and somebody needs to walk you over there, I'm sure somebody from Malu will be able to walk you
To
over
the
there.
Delegates Lounge and,
Yes,
and
I'm
remain
sure they
there
can.
as they were doing the
I'm sure they
before?
can. You can ask them, and they will try to help you.
Would they
out.
remain there listening?
Of course, they will not remain there listening.
Is a Green Pea allowed to go into the Delegates Lounge for purposes of collecting news? That's the question.
If you need to go to the Delegates Lounge, you need to go anywhere else, and you have a problem with your personal access, you can
It's not
talk
personal.
to
It's
the
about
to
anyone
the
that has this
media
pass, of
liaison.
which there's 1,900 people.
Thank you. We will now.
I have another question.
Oh yes, go ahead. One more,
Okay.
and then we'll go to our guests.
All right. Well, I have an audit question and a Vuk Jeremic question. Can I do? I'll do them.
Go both.
You'll answer
Go
one.
both.
Okay.
Go
Thanks a lot. At the stakeout just now,
Lucky
Vuk
day.
Jeremic, candidate for next
Yep.
SG. He on the issue of UN reform, he said that he would require, if elected, he would require public financial disclosure of all UN officials, and he made a point of saying that currently that's not the rule and that it's voluntary and many people don't do it. He also said he would strengthen OIOS and protection of whistleblowers, but specifically on public financial disclosure, this seems to be something beyond what the current Secretary General does. Why didn't he do that? Why didn't Secretary
I think
General
again
require
on
his
the
officials to do
issue
it?
of transparency and disclosure, I think the system has been vastly improved over the last 9-10 years now. The system is in place where financial disclosures are for senior officials are all have to be filed, and they can opt to make them public or not. What the next SG candidates propose is not something I'm going to comment on.
Okay, and thanks a lot. And this is the one I wanted to ask you about. I've asked you about this event that took place in the middle of last year in the GA lobby, and the critique in the OIOS audit that says that, among other things, it says that this violated the rules. DPI didn't stop it. Secretary General went because it was a one-artist event. But then I've recalled back, there was an event held in the, I guess they call it the Secretariat lobby, with the checkerboard floor just below it, in which there was a single artist. It was actually Sherry Yann's father, the indicted and pled guilty Sherry Yann. And I wanted to know, do these seem rules, that was done openly, like they said openly, this is my father, these are his paintings. It's not in the audit, but it seems even more extreme in the sense that it was a straight nepotism game. Did that violate the rules? And if so, what's going to be
the
done
audit
about
is
it?
clear on what parts need to be strengthened.